All right, welcome to this Crystallize live stream. My name is Bård, and we have with us today Vasil.
Hey everyone, I'm happy to join board again.
And the topic of today, as you know, it's vibe coding, and we were thinking that let's split up the process of vibe coding in storefront. So we will get there in the end, but this first stream is about the setup. You know, how to start and how to connect the dots before you can start vibing, basically. And without further ado, Vasil, let's see where we start.
Yeah, great. So really the first step of vibe coding, I would say, is to connect the MCP server. And as you may know already, Crystallize, we offer an MCP server, and it's on mcp.crystallize.com, as you can see here on my screen. And here we have a few instructions that you can use to install it. But I would like to take it from a little bit different angle. Let's say that we have a tenant that we're going to work on. And this is my Vibe Commerce tenant. Fairly simple. If you look at the catalog, it has a few products, just something that we can work with.
Yep.
And if you want to connect the MCP server to this tenant, what we should do really? The first thing that we need to do really is to create our access token ID and secret and give that to the MCP server, so the server then can act on our behalf, right? How to do that? Here I'm going to go to the settings and access tokens over here, and I'll generate a new access token. I'll name it MCP just because it's simple. And here, don't forget, you always, this is kind of a general recommendation, that you scope the access of this token to only this tenant, right? Because if you don't provide the tenant here, it will be widely, we will have access to all of your tenants. So just choose.
And this is what you need. Very important, because if you, let's say you have multiple customers, or if you have multiple projects, for example, a production and a test tenant, you want to make sure that the tokens are limited just to that tenant, so that yeah, it's more secure, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So here I'm going to generate the token, and you're going to get excited that you're going to see my access token ID and secrets. Don't worry, I will delete them right away after this demo, so everything will be gone. Cool. So here I have the ID and the secrets, and most importantly, here at the bottom I have this one section that says install MCP. And here we have a few options, few flags that we can pass to the MCP server when we install it. I'm not going to talk about them now. I'll just copy what I have here, and I'm going to install the server, and then we're going to come back here and look at it. Cool. Here I have my Vibe Commerce folder. Kind of that's the folder where I'm going to work and install the server. So I will just paste and run it. And here, if you see a little bit up here, this is kind of a standard installation of an MCP server. Where to install it, Claude Code, of course, as a project. I'm not going to install it globally, and done. This is everything what you need to do. So if I run Claude here, use this MCP server. Yes, we are on 505, fresh and new. Again, second time. Cool. So let's look at MCP here. What you're going to see here is that I have Crystallize connected, right? So this is good. So the installation really worked. And what should we say? Give me.
Slow down a little bit here, because just for me to recap here. So what you did, you just created a token in Crystallize, and there you had the instructions that you copy and pasted directly into the terminal. And you were in a proper directory, created a new directory for that project.
Yeah,
and you just chose which agent you were going to code with. In this case, it was Claude Code. And then you started Claude and said, yes, use this MCP server. And that's it?
Exactly. That's what I did. Very well said and summarized.
and this is now connected to Crystallize, right?
Yeah, but let's test it, right? This is kind of the whole point here, to see if this is really connected. Okay, so we're going to say, give me an overview of the connected Crystallize tenant. Cool. We're gonna leave Claude to do its magic, and I'll put auto mode on so it can figure out all the things that it needs to do that. And while it's working, I said we're gonna look back at these flags here that we can pass to the installation command of the MCP server.
Yep.
And the first one here that says mutate data, as you can see, this is not enabled. So by default, this is disabled or not enabled. And what it does, if we enable it, we allow the server to expose these tools that can change data in your tenant. So this is really allowing the MCP server to run mutations, right? This is kind of the whole idea. And when it's disabled, means that the tools are going to run only queries. And I think this is the kind of the safer first choice when you start with it, right? When you are exploring a bit to make sure that until you do the whole setup, you can just run queries. And after that, later, when you are kind of more confident and you're in a good stage, you then can enable the mutate data and start using the MCP to actually do mutations. Yep. Cool. That's the first one. And then the second one is access queues, which is enabled by default, as you can see. What it does, it controls the queues tools, which when it's on, the AI agent can look up how to Crystallize works. And in most cases, if you use Crystallize, right, you're going to have the skills installed, so not really need to worry about it. But if you have the skills installed, you may want to actually remove this one because you have already the skills anyhow running, so no need to worry. But it doesn't bother if you just have them with the MCP kind of together. And here, looking at the last one is the UI panel. So this really controls two tools that return interactive visual panels instead of plain text. So this is the tenant overview and the product overview. So when, and this is using actually the MCP UI extension. And if your client, let's say ChatGPT or Claude, not Claude Code, but Claude, the app, right? They support the UI extension. When the tool is rendering tenant overview or a product card, it can display actually a UI card that you can click, and it's kind of interactive thing that you can work with, which is quite interesting, I would say. Cool. I think that's everything around the command. It's quite straightforward. MPX at MCP and the server. So let's go back to Claude and see what's. See. So what's here? Here is an overview of the connected Crystallize tenant, Vibe Commerce, as you saw. So we are connected to the right tenant. This is the ID, and here I have overview of the content model, like the product, the category. And here it tells me that I have a few products like this sofa for €1,000, and I think this really proves that actually we just one command we managed to connect to our tenant, and now we can start working with it. I think this is a good start, right, for our vibe coding session.
Definitely, and it was super simple, and now basically you already got the support of Claude, so you can always ask how do I do this, how do I do that. And in our next stream, I suggest that we start scaffolding a project and try to actually have Claude make some code for us.
Yeah, but that's definitely a good idea.
But I think this is enough for this stream. Short and sweet. This is how to connect the dots and how to start your project. And next stream we will do with vibe coding will be around, let's get some data, scaffold the project, and let's get some data out. So listing some products. That's what we will start with. And thanks for watching. Thanks for showing, Vasil. If you want to get notified, you know what to do. See you in the next one.
Bye.